It's in dry, like it's in dry. We said it's. See, Yaakov said it's in dry dock.
No, he's saying fakert. We say if it was dry dock, it wouldn't be. It would.
No, you don't know his rishus. You don't know his rishus.
Dry dock, but nobody's in it.
Right, it needs to be floating in the river because nobody owns the river. It's city. It's just.
And the guy in Flapper he says nobody's paid me maintenance for this in 3 years. Make that the case.
Well, yeah, so that's why.
It's okay. That's interesting.
That's a good shot. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so where are we up to? Lamed Aleph Beis, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, a couple of more cases of these interesting fights here. This guy says that the field belonged to my fathers. Right? And this one says it's my father's. Right? That's interesting. Why the last one, did we say Avoisai? Or it was Avi? Meaning, does it change anything? Because he's saying Zavais. No, we always said Avoisai. We said Avoisai, meaning it's in the family. Like it's sort of like what do you call it when it's handed over from door to door? It's an heirloom.
Hereditary heirloom.
An heirloom, but it's land. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're not talking tomatoes, Gershon.
Yeah, well, you might be. It could be.
He's talking about 1,000 acres of tomatoes.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. It's not
a problem using the plural because when you say avosai, you mean my father and his father. That would be avosai, you know.
I'm saying, would anything change if he just said it's my father's and that's it? Meaning, is there more credibility?
No, that's mashma. Your father got it from somewhere else or for somebody else, but somebody outside the family. But when you say avosai, it's more of a Yerusha.
It sounds stronger.
It's a stronger Yerusha. You know,
I'm saying they're both saying the same thing. Meaning, let's say one guy would say it's my avoisai, and the other one would say it was just my father's, and that's it. Would we change anything there? Would we believe the guy who says it's been in the family for Dairis, as opposed to one guy who says I just got it from his father? Does that change any? Would that change anything?
I would think not.
I would think why not?
No, it's interesting that it's
it's definitely interesting. That's for sure.
No, yeah. So, anyways, it's also Rashbam also points out that this is not it's Bain between a Bain Bekarka. And each one basically he says that neither one has more of a chazaka than the other one. Okay, so each one is saying the exact same thing. So Rav Nachman called Dalam Var. Just put them out there, get out the boxing ring, and let them just beat each other, and whoever gets it, gets it. Right? So that, I mean, again, that's obviously an extreme example of called Dalam Var, but that's essentially what the simple shot of that is.
What is the shot of called Dalam Var? What's the etzem shot?
What?
What's called on loving? You grab it, and then can I grab it for you, and then you grab it back?
Oh, so that's a machlokes. That's a machlokes. We could do that. When we say called down on does that mean that this can be an ongoing fight, perpetual fight, where each one is, one day he goes and he grabs the boat, and then the next day the other guy hires other people, grabs back the boat, or once.
What does it mean?
It's a machlokes.
What? Whether
they could do that
or what?
Or Rush says the first guy gets it and the other guy can't take it away from him.
Correct. Once the first guy gets it, once he gets it, he gets it. I don't know what the lumdus is. What would the lumdus?
The lumdus is the Achronim say whether or not kol dalam gvar is a psak din, like that's the psak, or kol dalam gvar is that based in just says hands off, you guys deal with it. Right. But it's not a psak. It's not a psak. Basin says we're withdrawing. You guys deal with it. You guys fight with it. So then one guy could be typhus, maybe he can't be typhus. But if it's a psak din, then that's the psak, and whoever gets it gets it.
Yeah, meaning right. Well, that's the question: is kol dalam gvar psak? We have to see really the next.
Right. So I think that's whether it's Tfisa helps or not. I think that's totally on that shaila. If that's a psak din, or Basin just says we're out of here. You guys handle it.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see the Gemara's kash, and then we'll on this. But anyways, he's saying kol dalam kvar. Yeah. So the Gemara asks, "Why shnam b'shnei shtaros hayotzin b'yoyim echad?" Why is this different than two shtaros that come out in the same day? Meaning, you have a star. So the star says, this on today. What's today? Tuesday, this field went to Pliny. The other guy pulls out a star and says, on Tuesday, this field went to Pliny. So it's mamish, two people, same day, and the Rashbam points out that you're never gonna be able to fix it and say, oh, well, maybe this one's star was at 10 o'clock in the morning and the other one's was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the one with the 10 o'clock in the morning gets it first, because it doesn't work like that. It's normally the kinyan happens at the end of the day, because we don't put, what we're selling, ksubas. Yeah, ksubas, right? We discussed that we don't put, for whatever reason, we don't put the hour in the star. Anybody who ever listened to a ksuba, we do not put the hour into any stars. We just put the day. So the assumption is that it's till that it really kicks in at the end of the day. So there's no way to clarify over which star was done earlier in Bezdin. Right? So the Gemara is asking, now. The Rav Omar Yachloiku. Rav says in that case, there's nothing you can do about it, so they have to split it. Shmuel Omar Shuda Dadaini. He says there's a whole issue. What exactly is Shuda Dadaini? Shuda Dadaini, as translation, means it's you throw it to the Shuda means to throw. It's a throwing of the Dayanim. Right? Meaning, basically, I guess maybe that's the phrase. It's a toss-up. Can we say that? It's a toss-up. Right? So they do a toss-up. Right?
The flip a coin. A great way to paskin.
So the way the Rashbam says it, meaning whichever way the Dayanim feel, it's based on this is dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous when if the Dayan better be very confident about his abilities in figuring out psukim, because basically the way the Rashbam says, whichever way they lean, like he says, meaning if they think, oh, it makes sense that he would have sold it to this guy as opposed to this guy, and they go with that, right? They go with their gut, right?
Tosis has a slightly different.
So can they use? Can they use svaras that are not halachically correct? Like they don't know what to do. Yeah, this is the case. They don't know what to do. So Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen come in and say it's that guy's field. They're not kosher for Edom, but that would
that taka maybe they would take that into account. I have no idea. It sounds like it. It's if they can say, oh, our hashara is that to go to this guy, so they can say, yeah, maybe. And Hanami, I don't know. I don't know the guidelines of Shuda Daini, but it sounds like it. Yeah, sounds like it.
I'm saying that Tiago, they're coming with from the idea of Hefker Bez and Hefker. They really have carte blanche to do what they want as they own.
And Hanami, so that's more
in
like
a place where you're a bit Suffolk and there's nothing, you're stuck. They really have carte blanche. I'm saying Hefker Bez and Hefker gives it that kaya. It's not sure that they could do it.
Right. So if you look at the Taisus, it's sort of saying like what you're saying. If you look in Taisus Shuda the Daini, it's just an interesting line in the Taisus. It's the second Taisus up. It says Nirul Rabbeinu Tam, the Misha Yirtze Hadayan Litain. Whoever he wants to give it to. But like a Pirush Kuntras, again, he calls the Rashbam Kuntras. Shayamdu Daito Shal Naisen. That you try and evaluate the das of the giver. Who would he give it more to? No. It's whoever Bezdin wants to give it to. That's it. So if Bezdin decides to flip a coin, then they have the wherewithal to do that. And if you look, there's a little hay in my Taisus. It goes to Moisef Taisus, and that's exactly what Akiva was saying. The Hefker Bezdin Haya Hefker. Right? That's in Taisus and Kedushin. A quote from Taisus and Kedushin. It goes with Hefker Bezdin Hefker. So there you go. So that's it. So Bezdin can decide whatever they want. Either way,
Rashbam's easier to understand. It's a little hard to hear Tosus do whatever you want.
It's very hard. But again, if you're going to be Saimach on Hefker Bezdin Hefker, then you can understand Tosus. It just, I mean,
and also Taisus brings rise to his vart. If you hold like the Rashbam, there's a lot of Gemaras that are shver.
yeah. So, but I'm saying
Taisus brings
you have to
rise.
you have to have epis of trust in the Bezdin that whatever decision they're going to make is going to be made with some form of accountability. Could we call it? I don't know if that's the right word, or some sort of cheshbon. Right? It's just not going to be random. They're going to say, "Oh, this guy gave a donation, so we'll give it to him." Obviously, that can't be because that's awesome. All right. Anyways, either way, going back to the Gemara's Kasha, the Gemara's Kasha is how come by this case where both are saying that the field or the boat belong to their fathers, we say kol dalam gvar, and how come by this star they both seem to be stalemates, right? Like Rafam said, stalemates. So why are we changing the psak? And then what Akiva was saying yesterday from Taisus, you have the case in Bava Metzia. Why is that? Meaning you have to juggle all these cases to try and figure out what's going on. So my answer is Hassam, right? By the shtaras, where each one has a star that they bought the field, the milsa. There is never going to be clarity on it. You're never be able to stand on the thing. That's a literal translation. You'll never be able to stand on it because there's no how are you going to possibly prove it, right?
You could never have Adim that were at each star, 2 different Adim, and they say what time it was.
Right. So the Rashbam says that you're not going to have that.
Well, why not?
What?
Why not? What's so crazy about that? That you have 2 Adim that know what time it was. Doesn't sound crazy to me.
Oh, so the Rashbam doesn't really address that one. The Rashbam really says different days, meaning you might come, but the Rashbam says or discusses, like, let's say one guy comes and says, the star must be wrong because we were in Bezdin on Monday, and if this happened on Monday, not on Tuesday. And the other guy has no proof, and he only has a star with Tuesday. So then the Chayret should go to the guy. It was Monday because it's Aiden, right? But the Rashbam says no, because for whatever reason, he says the lashon in the star was one where it was Vade given that day, and there can't be, and there can't be.
Well, he says the summer. He says the summer, the day you wrote it, the day you're going to give it. That's the summer.
Right. But it's interesting because a mastama shouldn't knock off Aiden, like David's saying. Right? If Aiden
comes, the stories don't matter unless you hold Aiden Masira Karsi. Aiden don't matter when it was given.
Good, but it should tilt. Good, but it should tilt the psak. That's all. Meaning, once you're random,
it's not chal till the end of the day. Basically, the hours don't matter. That's what the Rashbam says. Shoys don't mean anything in a star.
No, but he's a Rashbam's talking about different days.
Well, the summer it happened on the same day because that's what it says.
I hear. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
The Rashbam also says so. Therefore, in Yerushalayim, they used to write the time. They used to write the hour, right?
I don't remember. Did Rashbam say that? I don't remember.
Yeah. The top. In Yerushalayim, this wouldn't be the same din.
The top, right?
Because only that's what I'm saying. It's only if you don't hold
Yerushalayim they were smart enough to write the time.
No, it's
yeah.
In Yerushalayim, they're the only makbid on shows. Other places wasn't makbid on shows.
Yeah.
But again, this is only if you hold Eid Chasim Karsi. If you hold Eid Masir Karsi, it's nothing to do with when what's written in the star.
Right. Okay. Whatever it is, for whatever, as hard as it is to understand, right? It's saying that it's never going to be fixed. So it's never going to be fixed. So then we just do yachloiku or shuda the daini. But here by the ships or the land, you could stand it up and it could be stood up, right? Meaning, let's say Bezdin decides something, and then one of them brings Adim and says, I know that it's his father's field and his grandfather's field, etc., etc. Right? So now I don't know if this gets back to, and Bezdin doesn't want to look bad, so they just said, okay, just fight it out. Right? That's what it seems like you have to say. Meaning Bezdin doesn't want to paskin because it's very possible each one of them will bring Eidim later on, and then Bezdin has to change their psak. Okay, so what? So let Bezdin change their psak. Meaning going based on Friday's daf, with whether we want Bezdin changing their psak, Bezdin not changing their psak. The Maisa, here the Gemara seems to be saying that Bezdin is afraid. Since they can each bring Eidim later on, Bezdin doesn't want to get involved. Right? So it's interesting. You have to say that there was a chashash. I think I don't have any other way to understand the Gemara then. Okay, so then the Gemara says, and this we had quite a few times. If somebody's switching a para for a chamor, meaning it's chalipin, it's not being done with a kinyan, because it was done with a real kinyan of Hagba and Mashicha, then they would know exactly when this animal has a baby. So we're doing chalipin, meaning they're doing the transaction here, and the para or the chamor was on the other side of town. The Yoldan had a baby. Here it's a regular mechira. He sold the shivcha, and then she gave birth later. This one said, before I sold it, she had the baby. And meaning that there was a baby born. So each side is trying to figure out who owns the baby. Right? So and this one says, it was born once I took it. So what's the din? Yachlaiku. Because there's no way of ever knowing what the answer is to this. Right? So then how come we don't say yachlaiku by us? Which again, I was thinking, I don't know, this is a narish way to think, but maybe nowadays that we have video cameras, and meaning we're saying, how is anybody supposed to know when this woman had the baby or when this animal had the baby? Right? That's what we're saying. But wait a minute, nowadays that everybody has cell phones in their pocket with cameras, how do you know that somebody's not going to produce a video of this lady having the baby?
Who said a video is good enough? You could doctor a video also.
But I'm saying, but in something along those lines. Let's say you have it dated and then whatever, however it works. Anyways, okay, but that's the part of passion.
That's just a modern thing that you have to address at some point.
Yeah.
Maisha deals with whether video cameras work.
Yes, that's the whole thing. Where video works doesn't work. But the point is that nowadays there's a lot more access. You never know when people are traveling is easier. A guy could show up and say, "Yeah, I was driving by. I was driving by that cow, and I saw it giving birth," right, or something like that.
Why is that better than an Eid?
Maybe there were two Eidim. I'm just saying, whichever.
The point is that today there's time. We know more or less what the time is. Then they have to rely on the clouds and the sun, whatever. Okay, it's approximately 2 hours afternoon.
Well, we're not changing.
Today we know it's 2:31.
Right, that's a good point too. That's a good point.
People are still davening with the nates, even though the nates is not the real time, the right time. So,
right,
that they're choosing to do. But you can look at your watch and tell what the time is. Then you couldn't do that. Today you could have Eidus.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, so
davening the nates is not the right time to daven.
No, but but nowadays, yeah. Anyways, okay.
We said years ago by Chol of Yisrael, it's good cameras, right? The guy doesn't have to be in the barn. He has a console in his office. The mashgiach. We said that.
Right. Yeah, and okay, so Larry, so that's the kasha. How come here it's yachlaiku? So we're answered hasam lahai onto my base now islay drora de mamayna. So we have the classic machlaikus of what drora de mamayna is. All right. So drora de mamayna means each one has the way. Well, it's either the light tanasay, meaning it's a suffix having nothing to do. Even if neither one of them would open up their mouth, there would be a suffix to bezdin, right? So each one, the first islay the drama, who islay drama, this one also has the drama, right? Because meaning somebody is entitled to this money, having nothing to do with them opening their mouth. So if somebody's entitled to this money, bezdin cannot back out, right? But Hacha, idemar, loy demar. But here, there's no way. It's again, this is also a lumdish thing how to understand. Hacha, idemar, loy demar, idemar, loy demar. If it belongs to this one, it doesn't belong to this one. Meaning it's not possible for the land to be one or the other. Now, this animal is the same thing, right? Meaning, the way Tosfos understands Jordan Mamoina is that without their tightness, there's a suffix to Bezdin, right? Meaning, we don't know if the Vlad was born before or after. Yeah. So Mamela, since there's a legitimate suffix, they're having nothing to do with them. So then Mamela, we have to give a psak. Right? But here, where one is saying it belongs to his father, and one said that he got it from his father, and meaning we would have no idea without their tightness whether there was any sort of fight here, right? You just a plain old field, happens to be two guys show up and fighting about it. So Mamela, it's their fight. They created the fight. Therefore, we'll just let them fight it out. Masha'enkin, when there's a suffix that's a vadai suffix here, Bezdin has to come up with some sort of decision. That's the basic way to understand it. Right? Yeah, fine. So now, Amri Nardai, and Nardai said, so this is a smart guy. If you have a smart guy, listen to this Nardai Psak, and he could really make himself some money. So you got these two guys fighting over the land or the boats. So Nardai is saying, somebody comes from the shuk, the Hichsikba, and he makes a chazaka, then we do not take it out of his hands. Meaning this little yiddle sees these two guys fighting and he says, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take this boat. Let these guys are fighting. I'll take it. If he did that, we don't take it from him. Because who's going to take him to Bezdin? The first guy that says it's his father's, who say to him, hey, buddy, you don't know it's your father's. Maybe it's the other guys. And the other guy comes and says, hey, I'll take him to Bezdin. It's not yours. You don't know that it's yours. So Mela, the third guy comes he swoops right in and he just takes it. And he doesn't have to give it back.
Whoever's on the Chevra, who's a real estate guy, knows the guys who try to squeeze themselves into a deal that they had nothing to do with, and they try to get a couple of points because they overheard somebody in the mikveh talking about a deal.
Right, so sort of, it's not exactly, but yeah, not exactly, but yeah, sort of like that. This guy sees they're fighting, I'll take it. Right?
Don't these other two guys have from their father a star?
No, neither one had any proof. Or even if they did if they had proof, they both had the exact same proof. If they didn't have proof, they both did not have the exact same.
Yeah, but they have more proof than that guy who's actually grabbing it. They have that it was in the family at one time.
What proof?
So
Where do they have proof that it was in their family?
They don't. They don't have
There's
that.
no proof.
They're sister each other.
The sister
They have that with nothing. They have nothing.
They don't have a star belong to the father?
They both do.
Right, but this guy doesn't. This third
What's
guy
the
who
point?
grabs
What's the difference? The two stars are sister each other. They're meaningless.
Right.
I can see this happening in my house. One uncle says the chocolate's mine. The other one says the chocolate's mine. And comes my daughter, the mother,
And she eats
takes
it.
and eats it.
Eats it. That's it.
Listen. Okay, so I don't. Whatever it is, this guy's.
But don't we say Eidus Bachasha is not? We assume one of them is Emes.
Yeah, but who's gonna fight him for it?
No, I understand, but when we say Eidus Bachasha, are we saying that one of them, both of them are not true, or one of them is true? We just don't know which one it is.
I don't know.
We throw them both out, Lalach. Neither of them are believed.
But the Eidus still stands. We don't we assume one of them is.
No, Lalach, neither of the Eidus stands. That's why there's a machlokes whether they can give Eidus again by themselves. We had that machlokes like a few blot ago.
Yeah, Taisus is a one-line Taisus. It was Vilu Kosvar Harsha Zelazeh. I don't know exactly what the Taisus means. But they're Rishon, meaning he's not, they're just, one of them is full of baloney. So Mamela, they're out. Right? Either way, it's basically, it's what we call, he was able to get it on a legal loophole. Right? That's it. He's on a legal loophole. Yeah, so again, somebody who steals from the rabbim is not a gazan. Now that cannot be taken literally, right? That sounds like what? I can go steal the pushka, right? So it doesn't mean a rabbin, meaning you're stealing from the public. It means you're stealing from more than one, right? That's the way the Rashbam says. You're stealing from more than one. So when you steal from more than one, then you're not considered a gazlan. What I mean, Avadi, you're a gazlan. You're not getting the Tzaddik of the Year award. We just don't force him with Dayanim to take it away from him. Ravashi has a different spin. Ravashi Loilam Shmei Gazan. Nah, he's considered a Gazan. Milo Shmei Gazan. This is Mamish. He goes the opposite. He's actually worse off. What does it mean he's not a Gazan? He can't even give it back. Who's he giving so he stole it, right? So who's he doing that?
He stole five wallets and he took out all the cash. He has all the cash now.
No, but he's saying, man, he stole wallets, let's say, from people that are fighting over it. Who's he giving back to? Who's he giving it back to? If he gives it back to one guy, that guy might not be the rightful owner. So how is he Mekayim the mitzvah of Eishavas Exela?
They don't have to be fighting over anything, Yaakov.
What do you mean?
The guy walks into a train car and he pickpockets 5 people. He takes out all the cash and puts it in his pocket. Then they get him. So who? That doesn't. You don't have to make the first 2 people fighting.
I don't think that's what they're talking about because we know.
But the case we're talking about here is where they're fighting.
Why are you saying they're fighting?
That's our case. We're talking about here where they're fighting. We're saying that a guy swoops in and he could take the field, at least according to Nardoi, and he doesn't have to pay it back. Right?
Okay,
the big tzaddik. He made shalom between them. Now they have nothing to fight over.
Well, the first.
I'm right.
Now they have a common enemy.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm saying it's very interesting because the Nardoi and Ravashi are saying 2 total opposites. According to Nardoi, right, he's potter from giving it back because there's nobody to give it back to. Ravashi is saying fakert. He's never can do tshuva from this because who's he giving it back to? Each one of them may not be the owner. Meaning he could toss a coin and give it back to one and hope on a 50-50 that he's doing the Heishavas Exela. But there's no, it's not a guarantee. Yeah, okay, it's almost mincha time. So let's see. So it's now totally changing gears. Now we're out of all the stories of people fighting, at least meanwhile. Now we go back to Cheskas and Shalosh Shanim Miyom Liyom. The Chazak is for 3 years from Yom Liyom, right? We said that's how long Chazak is. Amar Rav Abba. If you see the owner picking up a basket of the field, not of the field, of the owner, meaning you see, meaning you have the guy complaining who says it's his field. You have the guy who's a squatter, and somebody says, they say, hey, we saw this guy who's claiming the field is his, putting a basket of fruit onto this guy's shoulder, right? Then that's an immediate chazak. Why? Because why are you putting? If you're contesting this field, why are you putting the fruit on top of his shoulder?
Because the Torah says I have to help him with his load. What does one thing have to do with the other?
Right. So good. So you could say that, but then he should have said, right? He should have made sure. If he's afraid that this guy is squatting in his field, he would make sure and say, by the way, I mean that
the guy's stealing my payers. The guy's stealing my payers. I should help him load it up too.
It would be listening either.
We asked that question, Gershon, about it. No, didn't we ask that about something?
Similar. I think this would be lifnei Iver.
Yeah, when he tells him to buy the field, even though he's just gonna go right ahead and take it out from me.
Right. If he wanted the second guy instead of the first guy. Yeah.
That
Anyway,
was without the Avera part. That was the bad advice part. This is an Avera. He's helping him being a Gana.
Yeah. So he should have made a macha. I'm sorry. Well, we'll see that. Well, let's finish one. Either way, but if we see the pashtus is we see the guy complaining, loading him up, then it's a problem. Somewhere of Zvid, the imton, the Omar. But if he tines and he says, the Paris eraditive, that the reason why I loaded him up is because he came into the field to just use the Paris. Then he's believed, right? Meaning Rabban, that really answers what you're saying. He should have said, he doesn't mean he owns this field. He just rented the fruits. And that's only if he said this within the first 3 years. But if after 3 years, he's not believed. Meaning if after 3 years he says, oh no, this guy was just using the field for Paris. So he's not believed. Well, if this guy's going down into the field for Paris, how is anybody supposed to make sure that 3 years later the guy doesn't say, "Oh, I bought the land. Look, I've been here for 3 years and the owner didn't tell me anything." How could the owner tell him anything? Right? It's Paris. Right? He was just there for Paris. What should he have done? Again, the Gemara is saying that the guy was going down for Paris, and that's it. So, but then we're saying that if the owner after 3 years says, "Hey, he's claiming he owns the field, he was only there for Paris," we say we don't trust him after 3 years. Why not? How else is he ever supposed to rent out his field for Paris? And the guy, what's he supposed to do? So Amarlei, no, he should have made a macha. He should have said within 3 years, he should have said, by the way, everybody, you should take an ad in the paper. I don't know what the schools have to always take out ads in the paper that they're, that they'll accept all race and all that stuff. You got once a year, whatever it is. So the same thing. He should have put out a shmua that he's he's just there for Paris. Because if you don't say this, Hani Mashkanta Desura, we're back to again our Mashkanta Desura. Again, Mashkanta Desura is a way out of ribis. Meaning a way a guy can get paid back with a field is he can lend somebody money and says, instead of paying you back the field, what I'm going to do is I'll give you the field and you eat the Paris for 10 years and then you give me back the field and those Paris is how the loan is paid back. Now, there's no ribis issue there. Maybe he's going to end up eating more Paris. We say no, because since he says you can have it for 10 years for the Paris, whether it makes more Paris than the loan or less Paris, so therefore it's not ribis. But that was the eitzah. Right? So he gives it to him. So this high mashkanta the surah that the guy's in there for 10 years, the kasa bahu, that it's written in the Bershalim Shnaya Elaine, he writes in there that when these years are over, Tepuk Ara da beloy kesef, then I take out this land without money. See, so if he hides the shtar mashkanta, like we said this 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we said that the guy can maybe hide the shtar mashkanta and say that it belongs to him. Right? He says, meaning he hides the shtar that says he was only supposed to eat the fruit, and then Mameli says, you see, the field is mine. He should be believed, right? Masakin Rabbanim Midi Dasi they say this, that Rabbanim will masakin a way for somebody to pay back a loan without worrying about ribis, meaning letting the lender use the field for a bunch of years till he's paid back. And now you're saying that he could end up getting shafted by this guy hiding his shtar and saying that, oh, I really own the field. Dasi Pseida. He's going to come to Pseida. Ella no, so meaning when it's a mashkanta desura, the guy's got to make a macha. He's got to put an ad in the paper every year or within every 3 years. By the way, the guy that's living in my field is not owning the field. He is just taking his payment for a loan. That's it. So too here, when he rented out his field just for the payers, he should have made a macha. He should have said, this guy is not in the field to buy the field. It does not own the field. All he's using is the payers. Okay. Hope that was understandable in some way, shape, or form. All right, we'll stop here. All right. We should hear, what's the Refuah Shalema again? Leah, what was it?
Esther Leah Basra. Esther Leah Basra. Miriam Basra.
Yeah,
Very
she
much.
should have a refuah shalem with the Karev amongst Sotch Shachar Yisrael. All right.
Any
let's
news
say
on our
Tillim.
ground?
I did not hear anything yet. I'll have to try and find out.
And Rabbi Stein, that call I was on, I mentioned to you earlier, Baruch Hashem, guy's getting the help he needs.
Baruch Hashem. That's good. Which could be going.
Yaakov, what happened to Larry Brown?
He had a surgery today. We're not sure on what, but he had a surgery. Sounded like a pretty shikul major surgery, but I don't know what about and place. Anyways, okay. Tillim Yud Gimel Lam Natseach Mizmor David. Adona the Netish Kecheni Netzach Adona Taster is Benechem Mimeni Adona Elshas Eitzes Benafshi Yogim Bava Yomi Adona Yoram Oive Eloi Habita Anini Adonai Eloi Ira Ine Penisha Namavis Yomer Oive Yichol Tzari Yilu Ki Amoit Ani B'chas Tachov Latachti Yogel Bibi Shulzach Ashir Adonai Ki Gamal Eloi Chenu Gobes Yisrael Anasova Sarah Shivi Find the way Yomi Rosham Bakem Yerachem Elohim Yotzem Mitzal Levachem Tefillah Loirim V'Shul Kula Ashtob Agalov is Makarib and Amen. All right.